Okay, so welcome back to the next installment, which is the big brake kit. Everyone's been asking about the big brake kit, and it's here. So I went for the EBC Big brake kit. I think I've spoken about that in the past. I wanted something which was branded with a make of a sort of a brake system type company, rather than someone has took a generic brake disc and obviously put their branding on it. So this is exactly what I've got. So so in the kit you get the calipers, you get the pads, front discs, and all the mounting brackets for all the front, and you get rear pads in the kit. So you'll see in a minute I've also added the extra rear discs on, which is a bit extra to what you normally get in this kit. And you obviously with the front discs up big brake kit, you need to run I think it is at least a 15mm wheel spacer. So I've obviously got some 15mm wheel spacers to put on at the same time. There's a bit of a faffing about with the spacers because the standard wheel studs are too long, so I'm going to cut mine for now. It's not going to affect the performance or the safety of the car in any way. You'll see why later on in the video, or what you've got to do this, but it's not really the thing to do if you're trying to do things properly, which obviously I try and do things as properly as possible. So I will probably be trying to source some shorter studs and just take these, only just tap out and you can tap new ones in. So I will do that later on down the line, but for now I haven't got them, so the only way I can do it is to cut these. So it's like I said, it's not a biggie. You'll see. I'll show you all in a bit what happens. So I'll just cut to everything I've got on some slow-mos, and then we'll run through what I've done so far and how I plan on sort of doing the whole thing. So right, here we go. Okay, so there you go. That is what we've got. It's all sitting out there on my table where I've just set it up. I'm going to do that, leave it all there and take bits as I need it, so I should sort of see what's left at the end. Hopefully nothing. So right, just with the car, before we start, last night I jacked it up. I've put axle stands under the back, and the front is sitting on some big chunks of wood, which yeah, they're never going anywhere. This car is as solid as you like. So so all four wheels are off the car, as you can see. It's a bit dark around that side. So yes, so obviously big brake kit, you've got a new caliper, new disc, new hydraulic lines up to here. So I've got to undo this here, take all this off, brakes off. This heat shield guard has got to go as well, and then everything should just bolt straight back on. The only thing I've got to cut are the studs. I think I've got to take about sort of 5 to 8mm off these. I'll have a proper measure up once I've got the big disc on. I'm not going to tighten it all up yet because I want to put the disc on, measure what I need to cut, and then take it all off because I don't want to get any sparks or damage anything. I'll cover the paint up. Right, I'll set the cameras up, and we just need to get this lot stripped off. I'm not going to disconnect it from here yet because there's a reason why, and I'll tell you in a little while. So back in 2 seconds. Okay, so with two 15 mils bolts down the back here, they're the ones that need to come off. So let's see if we can get them undone. Loose. Okay, so that's the caliper off. I wouldn't normally hang caliper like this, but this is all coming off in a minute anyway, so it's not the end of the world. So once you've got your disc, your caliper off, the disc is not even fixed. So this just wiggles off, still like brand new, look, under 2,000 miles. But over there. So then this heat shield has to come off. I'll move this camera here. Yeah, so this heat shield here has to come off. It's only 10 mils. It should come off relatively easy. So next port of call for me will be to put the disc on here and then just put the spacer on and see what's going on here. So we'll do that now, and then I'll show you what the issue is with the studs. Disc goes on like so. Grab spacer. So, as you can see, there's not much of a cutout on the rear of the wheel, so the nut will clear, but there's no chance this thread here that sticks out will actually fit the wheel. So my plan is just to nip these off with a grinder, so they're not sticking out, so it's just flush with the face of the nut. But what I don't want to do is cut this and get sparks or anything to touch this part of the disc. So there's a few ways you can go about this, but I think what I'm gonna just do, touch these with the grinder so they're marked, and then take everything off, and then I can cut them properly then with the grinder. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm just winding these on, because when you cut threads you'll put a burr on them, and it's sometimes hard to get the nuts to start. But if you overwind them, which I have, and I'll cut these, and then when you wind them off, that pulls the burr off, makes it a bit better. So we'll whip them off afterwards. Right, I'm going to cut these right through now. Okay, so that's cut. So now I want to clean this hub up It's not that dirty, to be fair. I'm just going to spray some cleaner on there and just give it a good wipe over. I don't need a wire brush really. Okay, so that's clean there now. There's no corrosion on there anyway. I'll clean the discs in a minute once I've got the spacers on. Let's just lift this onto here, and then offer this spacer up as well. See if I've make sure I've cut enough off. So just so you know, these are directional, and I think there's a lot of misconception of these vents having to scoop air in the front, but they're really designed to push the hot air out. So these want to be venting out that way rather than pulling air in from going around that way, if you sort of know what I mean. They are labelled left and right when you get them out of the kit, so yeah, it's not, yeah, you can't go wrong really. So there is, I'll just talk about this while we're putting these on. There's a you get a brochure for these, or like an instruction manual, but you have to download it off the internet. You don't get it in the kit. So the instruction manual is downloadable. It tells you on there. Basically, it's quite interesting, to be fair, because it shows you quite a lot. Most of these sort of things, they just let you sort of muddle through on your own. But with this kit, yeah, you get, it is quite detailed. Yeah, with all the information you need. So I'm not going to tighten these right down yet. I just want them enough so the disc doesn't move. That's solid. Because what I want to do is I want to put, before I disconnect this and have to bleed the brakes, I want to put this on, put the caliper on just temporarily, and check that when I put the wheel on, it's not going to hit anything. Because there's a whole load of extra work. If for any reason I can't fit these today, there's a whole load of work to take that off. So if I take that off now, so just want to get a wheel on, and now I know I'm good then. So I'm just going to get the calipers now and the brackets. Right, so I'm going to offer the disc back up now. I will clean all this, don't worry. I'll just want to make sure the wheels are not going to hit on anything first. Spacer. Nuts. Just put a couple of these on. Now I can grab the wheel and see how it's looking. Actually, I'll just bolt the caliper on first. Okay, so I've tightened this down now. I've checked the fitments. It's bloody tight, but it doesn't hit. So I'm going to send it and hope for the best. So I've cleaned this hub. I'm going to clean the brake disc and get that on for good. backs, take the caliper off, pads out, disc off, cut the studs back, new pads in, and the jobs are good. And I'll just go over this sort of slow time, and you'll sort of see how it does. I've already done the other side, so I just wanted to see how things worked out. Worked out fine. So yeah, first things first, just to get the caliper off. Okay, so I've already changed this line on the back, other side. I'll try and film this one now, just doing this. I need to do it quickly because the quicker I can change it, the better. You will get some air into the system. There's no choice, you know. But this is just a little restraint that keeps hold of the brake line. Let's just undo that first so you're not faffing about with that. Okay, so that was a bit of a faff filming everything, but the brakes are done, apart from bleeding. So I'll flip the camera around. Rears all done, all torqued up. Fronts all torqued up, and yeah, this side's all on as well. So next thing is to drain as much of the old brake fluid out of this as we can. So I need to get, if you look down the side of that, there's still a fair old bit in there. So I didn't really lose a lot when I was doing this as such. So, but I have got a tool like this. So you squeeze the trigger, and it sucks. It's got a vacuum on there, and that should hopefully suck everything in to the reservoir there. So I'll set this up, I'll put the camera on it, and you might be able to see what's going on. Okay, so I've just sucked out everything out of here. I'm going to top it right up with fluid. I've got a bit of juice at the back, a few bits of air. I'm just going to move on to the front. I'll sort of film a bit of this as we go. On these calipers you get two bleed nipples, front and rear. You have to do the front first and then you go on to the rear one. So you get these rubber bungs that you pull off. I'll just set this up. I'm going to see what's going on. Okay, so as you can see from the video, I don't think it's turned out that well, to be honest with you. There was a lot of things that I couldn't film or tried to film, and it just didn't go to plan really with the filming side of things. I was more worried about getting everything finished in time, because obviously the day after I was going to Ford Fair at Silverstone, and I didn't want to miss out on that, and I was more worried about getting finished. So it took longer than I thought it would, to be honest with you. The main things really were making sure that you wound back the rear brake pads, and there is a special, the rear piston in the brake pads. There's a special tool that you can buy, but I sort of improvised with like a spanner you get with like a grinder. I obviously found it on YouTube how people used to do it without the right tool. It worked for me, but I tried to get the caliper in first without winding the calipers back. I thought I'd push the pistons back, but they won't go back unless you're turning them. So I had to take them off because they were a bit tight. Once I found out how to wind the caliper back, it was all right, you know. Other than that, the other thing is you have to shim the front pads, the front discs, not the discs, the calipers away from the discs. You get 4 washers for each side, and you have to put the washers in a different order to shim it away so the disc is actually in the centre of the caliper. It's not that clear in the manual that you have to do that, but obviously with a bit of perseverance you can suss it out. It looks, it's all right. So I've just added some clips in at the beginning there, just so you could see how it looks when it's finished. So I've done 200 miles on the brakes already. Obviously going to Ford Fair and back, I couldn't film the video at the end. It was too late in the day, and it was an early start, so I just had to get going really. So yeah, I mean, 200 miles on the car, feels brilliant. I mean, I must have bled the brakes perfectly because the pedal feels exactly how it should. They don't squeak. I've obviously not braked that hard on at the moment because it says to do 200 miles on the discs before you give it too much welly as such. So there's like a bedding in procedure. I'll do that sort of off camera over the next few days. You have to sort of do moderate braking for 15 times, let the brakes cool down completely, then obviously then do a bit more of that, and then there's some heavy braking. There's 3 different processes you have to do. But anyway, sorry, you just can't stop doing that. Yeah, so it's, yeah, it was, if I weren't trying to film it, would have been quicker. Probably could have done it in the 5 hours they said, but obviously it did take me a little bit longer than that because I was just more worried about trying to get some good footage, and it's when you're under pressure to get done, I just had to sort of just try and film a little bit here and there just to get done. So I do apologise for that, but yeah, it they look really well, and this car should have come with these brakes or something similar to this from the factory, in my opinion. I think the brakes just let the whole car down. Out of anything, I would say from factory, the brakes are the worst sort of thing, I think, really. They're probably, I mean, you could get more power out of them from the factory. I don't know why they just don't do that, but anyway, it's over here and there. I'm gonna get bored of that though. That's just don't get bored. I just don't get bored of it. Don't know what to say really when you get in the car. It just puts a smile on my face every time. I've literally just been driving it around town to warm it up, and you get to a junction like that when there's nothing about, and that was only up to 60 mile an hour, but it's just the way it gets there is just something else really. I'll just have a little drive around. I'll put some clips in quickly, especially under the tunnels. Okay, that was a bit of another hoon about. So stick in the comments what you think of the car now. I mean, it's getting pretty much where it needs to be. Other maybe there's some coilovers, but it's fine as it is at the moment. The rear could just go down by another 10 mil, I think. But we'll see where we go. Probably a project for next year, to be honest with you. I ain't going to be driving the car much through the winter. The winter's only just around the corner. So anyway, give me a comment, and yeah, just comment and like this video, and I'll see you on the next one. I don't know what it'll be, but it'll be something. I'll see you in the next one.